this is Sushma, Python trainer in Magnetic Software. In this video, I am going to discuss about Python interview questions for freshers. Okay, so my first question is like this. What is Python? Okay, my first question. What is Python? What are the benefits of using Python? So this is the first question asked in the interview. Okay. So for this, the answer is you people already know about that Python is a programming language with objects. Okay. So my first point is Python is a programming language with objects. And the second point is Python is scripting language. Python is a scripting language. Why we are calling Python is a scripting language? Actually, Python was developed by using ABC language, Modular 3, Algol 68, C, C++, Smalltalk, and scripting languages, Unix shell. By using these all languages, we have implemented a new language called Python. So we are using some scripting languages or not. So it is not completely object-oriented language. So it is a scripting language. So Python is a scripting language. So the third point is the benefits of Python or simple. We are calling Python language as a simple language. Why? Because comparing to other languages, here the code will be very less. So, and no need to develop control structures, strings. Okay. So all these concepts already developed in your C and C++. So here again we are developing. Here no need to develop these concepts. So by changing the code, we can call this language as simple. Okay, simple and easy, and it is easy to understand. Okay, so whatever the code we are writing, it is easy to understand for the user. Next, portable. Okay, portable means yielding same results on all machines. So that is the reason we are calling Python language as portable. This is the one of the feature called portable. Okay. So next, here we contain built-in data structures. Built-in data structures. So we contain built-in data structures. Built-in data structures means what? In C language, you can call it as a stacks, queues, linked list. All these are nothing but data structures in your C language. Okay. In Java, we can call it as a collections. There also we can use stack, linked list, maps. All this we can call it as. But in Java, we are having predefined data structures. Those are nothing but lists, sets, okay, dictionary. So all these are nothing but built-in data structures, and it is an open source. You people already know that Python is an open source software. Open source software, no need of purchasing any license. Okay, directly you can go to python.org.com. There we are having a download version. The latest version of Python is 3.9.1. So you can directly download the Python from your python.org.com website. Okay, we will discuss about second question. Okay, so this is also most asked interview questions for freshers. Okay, what is PEPH? What is PEP8? So this is my question. So what is PEP8? PEP8 is a coding convention. Okay, PEP8 is a coding convention, a set of recommendations about how to write your Python code more readable. So what is PEP? Python Enhancement Proposal. Okay, what is the meaning of PEP? PEP. PEP means Python Enhancement Proposal. So that is the meaning of PEP. So PEP 8 is a coding convention. Coding convention, a set of recommendation about how to write how to write your Python code more readable, more readable. So that is nothing but PEP8. What is PEP8? PEP means Python Enhancement Proposal. So here it contains a set of rules that specify how the format Python code for maximum readability. Okay. See, if you are writing any coding means definitely it should contain a set of rules. By using that set of rules, you are going to develop a coding. Okay. So that is nothing but PEP8. Okay. Now we are going to discuss about third question. Okay. Now we are going to discuss about third question. So my third question is, what is the difference between Java and Python? This is also most asked interview question. Okay. What is the difference between Java and Python? So see here, one side you are going to write Java, and another side we are writing Python. Now we will see what is the first point in Java. It is a fast, secure, and reliable general purpose computer programming language. So in Java, what is the first point? It is secure language. Why we are calling it as a secure language? Why? Because we are having some problems in internet like eavesdropping, tampering, impersonation, and viruses. So these concepts are removed by using Java, like encryption, decryption, digital signatures. By using these technologies, we have removed these internet security problems. So because of that reason, Java is a secure language. Okay, and Java is a fast. Why? Because here we are using a compiler. So that is the reason we are saying that Java is a fast and reliable. Okay, reliable general purpose computer programming language. So now we are going to see the first point in Python. A readable, efficient, and powerful high level programming language. So the second point in Java is, here it is statistically typed. It is statistically. So what is the meaning of statistically typed? Statistically typed is nothing but if you are writing any Java program, you have to declare your variables with primitive data types or not. If you want to represent your integer, if you want to take any integer value from the keyword, obviously you have to mention it is a integer type of data. So we are using a primitive data type called int. Okay, if you represent a float, we are using a float primitive data type. So if you are representing double, you are using double data type. So if you represent like this, then it is called it as statistically typed and faster than Python. And here it is dynamically typed. Dynamically typed means what? Here we are not having any data types. See, for suppose I will show you one example. See, dynamically typed and slower than Java. Why I will tell you. For suppose if I run any code in IDLE, okay, IDLE is nothing but if you install your Python, so you will get one IDLE. See here, no need of using any data types, okay. Dynamically you can give, see, a is equal to 10 value you are giving, but you are not telling that it is an integer type of data, okay. So print of, I already said you, Python is a collection of what we can say it as. In first point we have discussed it. Python is a programming language with objects. So everything will be considered with objects. So see in this example, print of a. I did not mention whether it is an integer or float or double. Dynamically it was taking or not. So here we are not using any uh, concept of primitive data types. Directly you can pass values. For suppose if I am taking a name, okay, here I am using Sushma, okay. So if I print the name, okay, so it was printing Sushma or not. For suppose if I am taking the salary, okay, floating point value 90,000.234 like that, okay. If I print the salary, see here what it was saying, it was printing salary. For suppose if you want to know what type of data it is, so print of type is a function, it will tell that what type of data it is, okay. So you are taking salary, okay. What we are going to take here, salary, okay. So see here, internally it will consider it as a class, okay. So float class, so no need of using any primitive data types. Whatever the data you given in the ideally it will execute it, okay. So that is the reason uh, it is a dynamically typed, okay. Now we are going to discuss about third point, Java legacy system. Java legacy systems or typically larger and numerous. Next, here third point is Python has Python has less legacy problems. Next, we are going to discuss the fourth point in Java. Longer lines of code. You people already know. See, in Java, if you want to print any statement onto the screen, we have to use system.out.println. Okay, but in Python, by using simple print function, we are printing some statement onto your screen or not. So that is the reason here, longer lines of code. Okay, longer lines of code when compared to Python. So my next point in Python, okay, here short lines of code, okay, short lines of code compared to Java. So next we will see the fifth point in Java. Most popular and widely used databases, okay, most popular and widely used databases. But coming to here, access layers are weaker than compared to Java. So next is sixth point in Python, popular for sixth point in Java, popular for mobile and web applications. Popular for mobile and web applications. Okay, and coming to Python, it is popular for developing data science applications. Okay, machine learning, AI, IoT. So all these type of applications are developed by Python. Popular for data science, machine learning, AI, IoT applications. Next, you people already know this point. So that is nothing but seventh point. It is a compiled language. It is a compiled language. Okay. Coming to here, it is a interpreted language. It is a interpreted language. It is an object-oriented language. You people already know Java is a it is a object-oriented programming language. And here the eighth point is Python is scripting language. So these are the basic differences between your Java and Python. So this is the third question asked in your interviews. Okay. Now we are going to discuss fourth question. So the interviewer may ask you a question like this. Okay. What type of applications developed by Python? Okay. What type of applications developed by Python? So in this question, we are going to see different types of applications. Okay, first one, console based applications. Okay, so these applications are developed by using IPython. Okay, now I'll tell you one. So whatever the console based applications you want to develop by using IPython. Okay, so next, second one, audio or video based applications. Okay, audio or video based applications. Video based applications. Okay, so if you want to develop these applications, we are using tim player or C player. Tim player or C player. Next, the third one is 3D CAD applications. If you want to develop these applications, we are using Fandango. Next, fourth one, web applications. Web applications. If you want to develop web applications, we are using Poco. Okay, Python blog software, and Python wiki engines, etc. So next fifth one, enterprise applications. Enterprise application. So in enterprise applications, see here, this is the example. Okay. So what is the example for enterprise applications? open ERP, open ERP, Triton, Triton, Picalo, etc. So these are nothing but enterprise applications. Now sixth one, we application for images. So application for images. So example, V Python, Go, ImageSeek, etc. So these are the different types of applications developed in Python. So how many types of applications we can develop here? Console based applications we are going to develop, audio and video based applications, 3D CAD applications, web application, enterprise applications, and application for images. So these are the different types of applications developed by using Python. So in Python, what is a variable? You people know about what is a variable. So this is my fifth interview question. They may ask you, okay, fifth interview question. What is a variable or identifier? Anyway, you can call it it. You can call it as variable or an identifier. Why we are calling a variables? We are calling a variables to store a value. So if you want to store any value, you need to create a variables. So that is the reason we are creating a variable. So variable is a name. Okay, variable is a name of the memory location where data is stored. Data is stored. So I will show you one example. For suppose here I am taking name is equal to some Sushma. Okay. So or age equal to okay like 89 or salary equal to some 56.789. See here you are taking one value by using this assignment operator. You are storing a value. You are storing this value into the name variable. So like that we are going to create a variables. But if you want to represent these variables, so what are the rules to represent your variables? So first of all, we have to know that the variable, so the variable contains a alphabets. Okay. So what are the rules? See here, my first point is variables are start with start with either uppercase or lowercase letters. Okay. Or start with underscore. So variables are start with either uppercase or lowercase letters or start with an underscore. So this is the first point. Okay. Variable name means here you can use these rules for class name, functions names, methods name. Okay, if you want to store a list of values, then we can use the same rules for tuples. Okay, dictionaries. These rules are same for classes, functions, methods. Okay, list, tuples. Okay, so for every concept of like this, we can use this variables. Okay, we can use this rules. Second point, reserved words cannot be used as variable name. Whatever the reserved words present in your Python, so all these variables cannot be used as a, all these keywords cannot be used as a variable name. Next, variable name should not be should not be start with digit or special characters. Next, Python is case sensitive. Next, don't give, this is the fifth point, don't give space between the variable name. Variable name. So these are the rules, remember, to represent your variable name. For suppose if I am taking any example, okay, name starting letter should be capital, so it is invalid. Okay, so next I want to represent all the letters small, so this is also invalid. Okay, I am representing all small letters, so this is also, sorry, it is valid. Sorry, it is valid. Okay, in this video it is also valid. Okay, so next, if I represent name, okay, it is also valid, all capital letters, or you can give name underscore of, okay, underscore student. If you give like this also, it is also considered as a valid variable name. For suppose if you represent any special character before the variable name, so then it is invalid. Why? Because special characters are not used to represent a variable name. It should not be start with a special character. So that is the reason it was showing invalid. For suppose if you start your variable name with digit, so here also you will get invalid variable name. Invalid variable name. And next, if you represent like this, name underscore one, okay, now it is a valid variable name. Okay, so these are nothing but identifiers. So what is a variable or identifier? Variable is a name of memory location where data is stored. Okay, so if you want to store any value, so by using assignment operator, we can store that value into a particular identifier. Okay, what are the rules to represent your variables? Variables are start with either uppercase or lowercase letters or start with an underscore. Okay, reserved words cannot be used as a variable name. Variable name should not be start with a digit or special character. Python is a case sensitive. Don't give space between the variable name. So if you are writing any variable name, so you should not keep any space in between the variable name. So this is nothing but identifiers. This is nothing but identifiers. Now my question is, what are Python modules? Okay, this is my sixth question. What are Python modules? Okay, name some, name some commonly, name some commonly used built-in modules in Python. So this is my next question. So the answer will be like this. Python modules are files containing Python code. So what is a module? It contains a files containing Python code. This code can either be functions, classes, variables. Whatever the code present in the modules, that may be a functions, classes, or variables. Function, classes, or variables. A Python module is a .py file. Okay, if you want to create a modules in your Python, definitely it should be a it should be saved with .py extension. Okay, so Python modules or files, Python modules or files containing containing Python code, containing Python code. This code this code can either be functions, classes, or variables. A Python module is a .py file .py file containing containing executable code. So that is nothing but what are Python modules. Now we will see some predefined modules. OS is a predefined module. Okay, OS is a predefined module, and next, sys is a predefined module. These are the predefined modules. Okay, this is a predefined module. Math is a predefined module. Okay, next, calendar. Calendar is a predefined module. Random. If you want to generate random numbers, it is also by using random module we can implement random numbers functions. Okay, date time module. So all these are nothing but predefined modules. We can call it as built-in modules. Okay, now we are going to see the seventh question. So what are local variables? Okay, what are local variables and global variables and global variables? What are local variables and global variables? First of all, we will see about global variables. Global variables. Variables are declared outside a function or in a global space. Then we can consider it as global variables. Okay, these variables can be accepted by any function in program. Okay, if you declare any variable is a global in a function, or that variable is declared in global space, then it can be accessed by any function in the program. So that is nothing but what we are calling it as global variables. So variable declared outside the function. Okay, outside a function or in global space are called global variables. Okay, these variables can be accepted, can be accessed, by functions in the program. So this is nothing but what we are calling it as global variables. Now we can see local variables. So what are local variables? Any variable declared inside a function, declared inside a function is known as local variables. This variable This variable is is present in the local space in the local space and not in global space. So this is about your local and global variables. For example, I considered a is equal to 2. Okay, so def is the keyword to represent your function. Okay, if you want to define your functions, def means definition. Okay, def add is my function. Okay, so function name, in that I am going to take b is equal to 3. Okay, so here I need to write a logic for addition of two numbers. So what I am considering here, c is equal to a plus b. I want to print c value. Okay, I want to print c value. Okay, see here. Here, what is the b you represent? That can be called it as local variable. What we can call it as local variable. Here, what is the a value you consider? That is nothing but global variable. What we can consider global variable. Okay, so now you are going to print the c value. If you want to print the c value means you need to call the function. Okay, so in this way we are going to discuss about local and global variables in Python. Okay, in this way we are going to discuss about local and global variables. Now we are discussing eighth question. Okay, till now we have discussed about seven questions. Okay, now we are going to discuss about eighth question. Why, why, why not? How Python is interpreted? How Python is interpreted? So this is my question. Now we have to discuss how Python is interpreted. You all people know that Python is a interpreted language. Why? Because it uses internally interpreter to execute your source code to machine code. Then it will generate output to the processor. So see, interpreter. First of all, we have to know the definition of interpreter. Okay. So interpreter means it will convert high level language code to high level language code to mission code. Mission code in by by line by line. So in Python, we are using a interpreter to convert your high level language code to mission level language. How we are converting this? Okay, how we are converting this code? Okay, now we will take and explain with an example how we are converting. Okay, so now we are going to see first of all what we are having. We are having a py file. After that we are having one more file. So that is nothing but pyc. Okay. After that we are sending our bytecode instructions into pvm. By that you are going to send output to the processor. Okay. So like that you are going to define. So see here, here I am going to take source code. So here I am going to generate bytecode. So bytecode. So here it is going to generate mission code. Okay. From that, whatever the output you are getting, that output will be sent to processor. Okay. So here we are having PVM, Python virtual mission. Okay, and here we are going to take here x.py file. So you are saving your file name with .py extension, and here you are going to save a file name with um, .pyc. Okay, so this whole thing will be done in the Python interpreter. Done in Python interpreter. So this can be called it as Python interpreter internally. Python interpreter. Okay, so by using Python compiler, you are converting source code into bytecode. Python compiler. Okay, ma'am, you said that we are using here Python interpreter, then why we are taking Python compiler? Okay, so see here, Python interpreter contains Python interpreter contains, okay, two parts. One is, first one you are considering Python compiler. Okay, internally in Python interpreter we are having a compiler. By using Python compiler we can convert convert we can convert source code into mission code. Source code into, sorry, mission code not, we are going to convert it into bytecode. Okay, so by using Python compiler we are going to convert source code into bytecode. After that, by using PVM, in second step we are going to take PVM. PVM is nothing but Python virtual machine. Python virtual machine. By using this Python virtual machine we can convert, okay, we can convert bytecode into, we can convert bytecode into, okay, bytecode into mission code, bytecode into mission code. Okay, so PVM is nothing but Python virtual machine. By using that we can convert bytecode instructions into mission code. So internally the interpreter contain two works. So in this way we are going to use Python interpreter. Okay, so internally it works like this. The interpreter works like this. Okay, now we are going to see, see here, Python programs run directly. Python programs run directly, from the source code, from the source code. Okay, it converts, that means by using interpreter we can convert the source code, that is written, that is written by the programmer, by the programmer into an intermediate language, into an intermediate language, which is again, translated into mission language, that has to be executed. So this is nothing but your 8th question. Okay, so now I am going to discuss 9th question. How memory is managed in Python. This is also most interview asked question. Okay, how memory is managed in Python. So first point, actually the memory is managed in Python by private heap space. Okay, all Python objects and data structures are located in a private heap. Okay, so here the programmer does not access that private heap, and the interpreter take care of this Python private heap. Okay, so the whole memory is managed by using a private heap space. So if the programmer want to access that private heap space, there is no possibility. So the memory is managed through only interpreter. So interpreter will take care of this Python private heap. Okay, so now my first point is Python memory is managed. Python memory is managed by Python interpreter, by Python interpreter. Okay, private heap space. All Python all Python objects, all Python objects and data structures are located in a private heap. In a private heap. The programmer does not have an access to this private heap, and interpreter take care of this private heap. So if you are creating any objects in Python, so it can be done by memory manager, Python memory manager. Okay, so if you want to do any allocation, okay, allocation of Python heap space for Python objects, definitely we should have a Python memory manager. By using this, you are going to create a Python objects. Okay, so the allocation of Python heap, space for Python objects, is done by Python memory manager. Python memory manager. So if you want to remove or free up the allocated memory, we are using a garbage collector. Python also have internally garbage collector. So if any memory is allocated, to free up that space, we are using a concept called garbage collector. Okay. So here, if you want to create a objects, means we are using a Python memory manager. But if you want to deallocate any objects, or if you want to free up the memory space, then we have to use a garbage collector. Okay, Python also have an built-in garbage collector, have an built-in garbage collector to free up the memory space in heap space. So these are the 3 points how memory is managed in Python. So in first point, the Python memory is managed by private heap space. So the programmer does not have any access to this private heap. The interpreter take care of this private heap. But if you want to allocate any memory to an object in heap space, then by using Python memory manager, we can allocate the memory to a Python object. Okay, in third point, if you want to reallocate, if you want to free up the memory space in heap space, then we are using a concept called garbage collector. So by using garbage collector, we can free up the space. So this is about ninth question. Now we are going to discuss about 10th question. Okay. So 10th question is nothing but what is the difference between array and list? Array and list. So this is also frequently asked question. So one side I am going to declare an, okay. So see here, arrays. So what is the difference between array? Array means if you are storing any type of data means, see here, in arrays we can give you only fixed type of data. But coming to list, we can store a different type of data. In Java, we can call like that. But in Python, arrays and lists. Why? Because in Python, arrays are represented with lists. Okay. In Python, have the same way of storing data. How you can store the data in the list? So like that, you can store data in the arrays. But if you want to use arrays concept in Python, then we have to use a module called array module. Okay. By using that, you can store the elements. Okay. But coming to list, here you can store a different type of data. Okay. That may be integer, that may be float, that may be character, that may be string. You can store any type of data in the list. Okay. In Python, see here, in Python, I will show you one example in future also. See, in Python, have the same way of storing data in both lists and arrays, but arrays can hold arrays can hold only single data type elements, whereas whereas list can hold list can hold any data type elements. So like that we can differentiate between arrays and list. Now we can see one example how we are using arrays and lists. So now we need to take ideally, okay, I will show you one example, then you can understand how we can work with arrays and list. So I need to take a new file. So here I need to import, okay, array. What we are using? Import array as array. So my underscore array equal to array dot array of, so I value I'm considering, and I want to pass a list of elements 1, 2, something 3, 4. I'm passing some group of elements. So my list, now I'm considering a list equal to, in list you can pass any type of data. So here I'm passing some 45. Okay. For suppose I'm passing string type of data. For suppose I'm passing float type of data. I'm going to pass a different type of data in the list. Okay. Now I said that print of what I'm taking, my array, my underscore array. See here, it is going to print all values of a same data type, but in list we are considering a different type of data. Okay, so here I am going to take print of my list. What I am going to take here? Print of my list. Okay, now I need to save my file in some other folder. So I need to run my file. So for that I am using F5 function. See, it was printing the elements of array of I of 1, comma 2, comma 3. Okay, but list contains a different type of data. So like that we are going to implement a difference between arrays and lists. So these are the main differences between arrays and list. Okay, so now I need to discuss about how we can differentiate between tuples and lists in Python. This is also most asked interview question. So this is 11th question. So what is the difference between list and tuples in Python? List and tuples in Python. Okay, so how we can differentiate it? Now we can take table. So in this first we have to consider the list. Okay, in second one I am considering the tuples. Okay, So next, in first point, you people already know that lists are mutable. Lists are mutable. In this, the first point, tuples are immutable. Tuples are immutable. So in tuples, we cannot modify the data, but in lists, we can modify the data. Mutable means modify. That means insertions, updations, deletions, it is possible. But in tuples, we cannot update the data, we cannot delete the data. So because of that reason, lists are mutable and tuples are immutable. Okay. Second point, lists are slower. Lists are slower than tuples. Okay. And here the second point is tuples are faster than list. Tuples are faster than list. Next, we will consider one example. Okay. Here we are taking list. We are storing a list. So list is equal to, I am passing different type of data, 90. Okay. And here I am going to take in single quotations some chanty like that. Okay. And I am going to pass some floating point value. Okay, so here we are going to store a different type of data, and here also we can consider in tuple also we can store different type of data. So tuple equal to, tuple should be represented within parentheses, list should be represented within square bracket. So here also the values are separated by comma and tuples are also separated by comma. So here also you can store different type of data. Okay, different type of data, like this we are going to differentiate between lists and lists and tuples. Okay, so next, what are Python decorators? Next frequently asked question is, what are Python decorators? So this is my next question. A Python decorator is a specific change that we can make in Python syntax to alter functions easily. To alter functions easily, we are using a concept called Python decorator. By using Python decorator, we can alter function easily. Okay. For suppose in OOPS concepts, if you want to represent a class method or static method, we are using a predefined decorators for at the rate class method and at the rate static method. So these are nothing but decorators. Okay, so a python decorator is a specific range, is a specific change that we make in python, syntax to alter functions easily. So next, 11th, and now we are going to discuss about 13th question. What are the bulletin types bulletin types does does python provides? Okay, so in this there are mutable and immutable types in python. So first of all we will see the mutable built-in types. After that we will discuss about immutable types. Okay, so mutable built-in types. So here we are going to discuss about, first you people, first one is nothing but list. So list will come under mutable. Okay, second one also mutable, sets, and third one you can call it as dictionaries. Dictionaries is nothing but key value pairs. Okay, so for suppose let us consider my name. If I want to store my name as Sushma, then name is nothing but a key. Okay, my name Sushma is nothing but a value. So name is a key, and my Sushma word is nothing but a value. So like that you can store a key value pair. So each key value pair can be considered it as an item in the dictionaries. So these are nothing but mutable built-in types. Immutable built-in types. What I'm taking here, immutable built-in types. So in immutable built-in types, what we are considering, first one, strings. What I'm taking here, first one, strings. Second one, tuples. Okay. And third one, I am taking numbers. So all these will be considered it as immutable built-in types. So this is nothing but the 13th question. 13th question. And now we are going to discuss about 14th question. What is lambda expression in Python? Okay, so this is we can call it as an anonymous function. Okay, in Python we can call lambda expressions as an anonymous function. Instead of def keyword, we are using a lambda expression. So it is a single expression anonymous function, often used as inline function. So it is a single expression, single expression, anonymous, anonymous function, anonymous function, often used, often used as inline function, as inline function. Let us see the syntax, how we are representing the lambda expressions. So the keyword we are using it here, lambda. Okay, whatever the arguments you want to pass that arguments. So in lambda expression you can pass any number of arguments. Okay, you are going to pass any number of arguments, and you will give single expression, and you will give single expression. So in this way, we are going to represent a lambda expressions. Next interview question. So this is nothing but 15th one. Okay. What are iterators? What are iterators? We have to know the definition of iterators. What is the purpose of iterators? Iterators are used to iterate a group of elements, containers like list. For that purpose, we are using a concept called iterators. So it is used to iterate a group of elements, a group of elements, comma, containers like list. Okay, so those are nothing but iterators. And next question is nothing but 16th one. What is slicing? What is slicing? So this is my next question. So a mechanism to select a range of items from the sequence type like list, tuples, strings. So for suppose if you are considering any list, you can pass a number of values. So if you want to retrieve a particular range of elements, then we can use a concept called slicing. So a mechanism a mechanism to select a range, to select a range of items, range of items from sequence, from sequence types like list, tuple, strings, etc. So for suppose example, I am considering one list, how we are applying a slicing. And here if we are using slicing means we are having a positive indexing and negative indexing. Okay, see here I am considering one list. So list is equal to some 12, 23, 34, 45, Okay, 56, 67, 78, 89, and 90. So these are the values I am having. So now I said that in first list, I want to accept a value from 0 to 3. Okay, in between 0 and 3, whatever the values you are having, that values will be printed. See, list can store elements from 0 to n minus 1. Okay, if you are taking the negative indexing means minus 1 to minus n. That is from right to left, it will consider the negative indexing. Okay, if I said that, if I am not giving starting index, but if I am giving the ending index, okay, if I am giving the ending index like 6, okay, so first 6 numbers it is going to print. For suppose if I am using slicing operator like this, I am giving the starting index like 3, but I am not passing any ending index. So after 3, what are the elements present in the list? It is going to display. Okay, so list of I am passing here from 1 to 6 numbers I need to print, and I am giving a step value like this 2. So it was printing what it is going to printing 23, 45, 67, 1 to 6. So 1 is the starting index and 6 is the ending index and 2 is the step. That means it will leave one element. Okay, so like that we are going to use slice operator. Okay, we can work with tuples also. For tuples also we can use the slice operator. So in this way we are going to use a slice operator. So next interview question. So 17th one. So what is doc strings in Python? What is doc strings in Python? So actually what is the meaning of doc strings is nothing but documentation. Okay, if you want to prepare any documentation for a particular class, okay, or a particular function or particular module. So by using doc strings we can represent the documentation. So for that we have to use with triple quotation marks. So if you want to represent the doc strings, we have to use triple double quotes. Okay, it is a way. It is a way of documenting. It is a way of documenting Python functions. Python functions, comma modules and classes. Okay, so doc strings are doc strings are represented represented in double triple quotes. Okay, we can represent like this. See, double quotation, double quotation, double quotations, and you can end with double, 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 double quotes. Okay, so in this way we are going to represent a doc strings in Python. Next, how can you copy an object in Python? So this is another interview question. How can you copy an object in Python? Okay, so this is my next question. So here we are going to use copy.copy method or copy.deep copy for the general case. You cannot call all objects but most of them. Okay, so all objects is not possible to copy from one object to another object. So if you want to copy any object, okay, if you want to copy any object, we are using copy.copy or we are using copy.deep copy. Deep copy. So these are the two functions, okay, to copy the objects. So my next IQ question is, how can you convert a number to a string? Okay, how you can convert a number to a strings? 19th question this is, How can you copy? How can you copy a, sorry, how can you convert number to string? So here we are using a predefined function str. So by using str built-in function, we can convert number into string. So by using str function, by using built-in str function, by using built-in str function, we convert number to string. Number to string. So like that we are going to convert number into string. Okay. So next, what is the difference between x range and range? What is the difference between x range and range? So 20. What is the difference between x range and range functions? Okay. See here, xrange returns the xrange object while range returns the list and uses the same memory and no matter what the range size is. So here xrange returns here xrange returns returns xrange object but but range returns list. So that is the difference between x range and range. So what is module and package in Python? Okay, 21st question. What is module and package in Python? Okay, so here module is the way to structure program, but each Python program file is a module which imports other modules like objects and attributes. But modules can save file name with .py extension. .py, it will save file name with .py extension. So see here, each Python program Python program. Each Python program file is a module. File is a module which imports other modules like other modules like objects and attributes. So these to be considered it is considered it as module, and module can save with .py extension. If you are creating any module means the module will be saved with .py extension. And coming to package is a collection of classes and predefined interface in Java, but the package can be considered it as a folder or directory. See, the folder of a Python program is a package. Program is a package of modules. A package can have modules or subfolders. So this is the difference between your module. What is a module? Module is nothing but which imports other modules like objects and attributes, and modules are saved with a .py extension. But a package is a folder or directory that contains a modules, okay, package of modules or subfolders. So these are the basic interview questions asked in your interview. In next video we will discuss few more interview questions in basic level.